We now have with us Mr. Shreyans Daga, CTO, MyGate. Welcome, Mr. Shreyans. I'm sure our viewers are all ears as you talk about your experiences with cloud adoption and innovation. So let's dive straight into it. And I request Amit Kumar, partner KPMG, to kindly take over and initiate this session.
Hi, Shreyans. Thank you so much for your time, and glad to be speaking to you at the Economic Times Cloud Innovation Summit.
Great talking to you as well, Amit.
Thank you. So, before we begin, Shreyans, can we start with a very brief introduction of yourself as well as MyGate? Though we are all very proud users of MyGate within our own community, but we want to hear it from you for the benefit of our viewers.
Yeah. So I think whenever an opportunity comes to explain what MyGate is doing currently, I like to go back a few years, around 2010, and look at two things which are happening in India. One is urbanization, which we see more and more people moving to the bigger cities in search of employment, better opportunities. And second is rise of e-commerce. Now, you might be thinking, how are these two connected to the growth of, or to the, why MyGate is connected to these two things. So if you look at urbanization, right, and a lot of it is happening continuously and will continue to happen. If India, if you look at right now, should be around 28 to 30% urbanized, while developing countries are about 50, and same as with China, right? So we'll see this is a long-term trend, and this will continue to happen. And now, when it happens, right, people, when they move in, they actually want a safe place to go in. Because if you're new to a city, you'll like to be where it's very safe for you. So gated communities became one of the areas or one of the places for people to choose to live in. Second is obviously public infrastructure, has its limitations. That's why it becomes, gated communities become even a better choice, because they also offer a lot of amenities which will not be available outside. An example would be that, something like a swimming pool is almost available in all gated communities now. Earlier, it was very restricted. So growth of gated community is going to happen. Second is, e-commerce, right? E-commerce started around 11, 12 when Flipkart came to the scene and everybody started ordering. And we all know today we get more delivery executives than, the friends or relatives visiting our houses. And that's also a trend which will continue to happen. But the way communities are constructed, they are for safety and convenience for people. And safety means that you try to limit the number of people who are coming inside. E-commerce, on the other hand, works on the principle that more and more people should be able to deliver to you. Now, in both of these cases, what happens is that we have created a kind of friction ourselves because we don't have the trust in the other guy who is coming to serve you, right? So MyGate said both of these things, which are phenomena which is happening in the Indian context, there is going to be a lot of friction created because trust is one of the part. Trust, which also gives rise to discovery, is one of the parts that becomes very important. Why I'm saying discovery is because today, when all the services, every product that you consume online, how do you know which service to consume or how to consume? Because in Amazon, you'll get rating and reviews, but what is available around you locally, right? In those local areas, if there's a carpenter, would you trust him to get yourself a job done? But this not knowing of people, that information not being available and not being able to get that information from the right sources is something that we wanted to solve. So MyGate actually came in to solve the trust and discovery problem for communities to start with, but our scope is generally how to make living better, or how do you make MyGate as a gateway of better living. That's what we wanted to solve, and that's how we have gone around solving that problem rather than solving just maybe an access or some community management system. Our idea is to solve the trust issues. Our idea is to solve the information and discovery piece.
And since you're solving the security friction, Shreyans, through the use of technology, I would understand that technology plays a very vital role in your business. So could you talk about, how's been the journey at MyGate of using technology like cloud, like using technology like data and artificial intelligence? So let's start with the cloud. How's been your journey at MyGate?
as you said earlier, we are a cloud native organization, right? I think the first piece of code written intended was to be getting deployed on cloud. I think cloud has been a boon for, I think, not just MyGate, but a lot of startups. And it is because of cloud that we have been able to scale at a pace. We have been able to develop and mostly focus our resources. And this is very important in a startup because your resources are very limited. You want to focus on the right areas, and cloud enables you to do that. You can work on your layers, different layers, without worrying about a lot of infrastructure or maintaining that. Right, and security and all those issues can also be taken care very well. All of these infrastructure already exists. You need to use them effectively. And this is how it enables you to really pick up pace and do it. You asked me another thing around AI ML. So we wanted to solve security issues specifically. One of the things we wanted to do is how can we reduce this information asymmetry which exists between who is coming in, the delivery executive mostly, and the resident inside. Now, if we have that the person coming in is a trusted person, is coming actually from the source, right? Can we get him in a faster entry inside without anybody getting disturbed and the security being taken care of? So we made this integration with some of our delivery partners like Swiggy and Zomato, where we said, okay, if you are going to send me an address which lies in MyGate, I'm going to ask the user for early approval because he has ordered it. He would know that the person is coming, right? Just with the address line. Now, when you have an address, right? Address in India is written in all kinds of forms, right? 4 people in a household can write address in 4 different ways. So we used ML there to identify any natural address given to us. We could decode it to a canonical form which MyGate had. So that was the first use of ML in our case. There are a few other cases we did, but our idea of solving the trust and discovery problem is greatly empowered by use of ML.
Yeah, and can you elaborate some of the business value that you are able to deliver, Shreyans? Not just the areas around maintainability, ability to provide security, and all that, but purely what kind of business value you were able to deliver for MyGate.
Yeah, I think if I look at it, a lot of innovations that we worked on, right from what I described to you, the integration that we did with delivery partners, which we called Validated Entries and Ecom Express, was only possible because we were able to use cloud so effectively to come up with the APIs, deploy our ML engine, all of that on the cloud, and it empowered us to do it, right? I think the other thing that I talked about is that it was vital for us as a startup in a new space to actually increase or get the scale as much as possible, as fast as possible. Also satisfy the needs of the users, right? The product could only grow as fast as we could deliver to our users. We could actually create more value for them. And that way, cloud has enabled us to do that. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult with the kind of growth pangs that you see in a startup's journey. A lot of features and the new areas that we wanted to build and reach out independently could have only possible because we had cloud. Right? We recently launched Homes, a vertical in MyGate, where we are using the community. We are making community the centerpiece along with your house, giving people the information about the community as well as the house. And we have used a lot of ML there also to bring out the finer aspects of the community, which people would not know otherwise, right? How do I choose between community A and community B? So we were able to get the extracts out of the, the data that we have around the community, like how many delivery executives or what kind of delivery executives are there? What is the security quotient? Will you be able to find a maid easily here or not? So all of this information was encapsulated and taken out. But the deployment was much faster. We could get the product to release faster because we had the cloud advantage.
So it would not be wrong to say that apart from the technical benefits around scalability, around support and everything else, being able to dedicate resources within your own company to value-added tasks, I would say cloud has also helped you grow your business time to value and being able to differentiate against competition. So it's in both ways, both a technology driver as well as a huge business driver for you, isn't it?
Huge business enabler. I think businesses are built on top of cloud. I think that would be, and cloud's importance, I think everybody understands. It's just it makes everything happen. So that's the great part about it.
Yeah, and since you handle so much of very, very important data points from customers, from delivery partners to location to address and other information, how do you manage security, privacy in cloud, Shreyans? Could you talk about it a bit?
Yeah, so I think that was very clear to us that, when we are creating a solution which has uh, this amount of data, we have to be very secure. So we made sure that the storage bases that we are creating are encrypted to start with, and all the flow of information is also encrypted, making sure that is existing. And in cloud, that is very easily possible. You select the right thing to start with, and it's easy to then grow on into it. But we also put a lot of governance structures. We got inspired by GDPR. We looked at what kind of rules and mechanisms we need to take or put in place. How should data, whenever, whatever piece of data is there, who, what, when, where, how, all of that part of the data should be recorded and kept available if there is, some, who accessed my data and how it got accessed, what was the purpose. So we did all that, and all that was possible. The speed at which we rolled out was only possible because we had built a layer of APIs which we could use on top of the data sources that we had created, and a lot of bifurcated, or I would say multi-furcated databases which we are able to use across to create that ecosystem.
Yeah, and one of the key points with more and more organizations adopting cloud, Shreyans, there is a huge shortage of talent in the market for DevOps, automation, data AI/ML, and even cloud capability. So, how are you handling the talent crunch, or I should say, talent shortage, or unavailability of talent, and retaining that talent within MyGate?
I think I wish I had answers to that. Maybe I'm also looking forward to somebody could give me the key to that question, but it is difficult right now. And I would say anyone working in cloud and DevOps would be having handful of opportunities with them.
Yeah, and what if somebody is now adopting cloud, Shreyans, and they're moving from on-prem to cloud? What are some of the key messages that you want to give to them, so that at least top 3 things that come to your mind, that their journey is far more smoother? Any areas to specifically take care of?
We actually started from zero or scratch in cloud itself, so would be difficult for me to say. But I think if they are not on cloud, they are missing a lot of productivity, a lot of speed, agility, security, all of those features which can be activated very fast. So I would just ask them to really go and start on cloud as soon as possible, and based on their business criteria and functions, use a public, private, hybrid, whatever cloud infrastructure that you want to use, but definitely get started.
And when it comes to the productivity of the team, Shreyans, that's a very key milestones that every organization track. How do you think the cloud impacts productivity of your team members who are building the whole business altogether? If you could talk about that.
So I think one of the things, and more so with COVID, right, distributed teams, people everywhere. If we did not have cloud, we would not have the kind of communication systems which are running right now, which are ramping so fast, right? And it had played a huge role in making sure our work does not stall, even though we are not able to meet physically. So that has happened. But I think what has also been very impactful is that with a lot of DevOps process that you set in, right, dependency for developers gets reduced to a huge extent. They focus more on their piece of what they have to write, and once it is tested and done, they really don't have to see how to go about getting it live, or checking it multiple times. No late night, or there can be instances, but not waiting continuously, having code ready, but not able to deploy because the deployment cycle is going to be late. Today, you can do it almost every day, and once you set the right process on cloud, you have the CI/CD pipeline set up. It becomes very easy. So productivity actually goes up very high. Second part is you also have a much finer control on the outcome, or you can always monitor the outcome very well. If you tune in the right metrics, if you tune in using data lakes and architecture over that, you can actually send in the right data to yourself and also find out whether the systems that you have made are operating in the right way or not, and take corrective actions, which is also very helpful for developers because they don't have to go through reams of logs and find out what's happening, what's not. So you architect it properly, it can actually accelerate a lot of things for you.
Awesome. Those were really great insights, Shreyans, and thank you so much for taking out time to speak to us.
Thank you, Amit. This was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Daga, for sharing your very valuable insights. And thank you, Mr. Kumar. Dear delegates, to hear from our next speaker, do join us in our next session coming up.